Hey there, Virgo. This is the Afterthoughts for July. I was really impressed when I went and looked back over the footage, if you will, of the very powerful spiritual things that came out of the medicine wheel, and then also the fact that you had so many major arcana cards in your tarot read. So I want to go back through all of that and just kind of review and make sure that we're clear. So the first thing is I wanted to look at your totems that showed up, and the beaver and the crow are the two that came up. And so we talked about beaver spirits. We talked about it being about building. So I would pay attention to building numbers 44, 22, fours. Anything that's happening with fours, anything's happened with number 22 or the number 44. Or you can do 11s as well, because, 11s may show up a certain number of times. But those are all builder numbers. It could be spiritual building. It could be actual building. So depending on where you are, you'll just pay attention to where you find yourself laying some sort of foundation or doing foundational type work. So for some of you, it may be your house. Your house may need to be the foundation of your house. So again, that's where a lot of the work will be consumed in July, is around whatever that building is. And again, it can take any form. Building can be physical, it can be mental, emotional, it could be at work, it could be within. So just pay attention to that, and it says to lay a solid foundation. Now, I don't really think that, Virgo, you're going to have too much of a problem with that because of the way that your mind works. You're very analytical people, and because you're very analytical people, you have a tendency to kind of pull apart anything that may not be working anyway. So that's kind of your natural propensity. What I would say for you is to not expend a whole lot of time building on a foundation that you're really not interested in. And that goes to this card right here, the fire card. So the fire card to me represents the fire element within you. What fires you up? What people or things ignite you in some kind of way. And fire can come in different forms as well. It can come in the form of anger, and it can also come in the form of inspiration. So fire can come up in different ways. And I'll give you an example. There are some people who anger inspires them, like something, they get angry about something and then they go do something about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people are angry about what's going on with race relations in the United States of America, and that fires them up, and it gets them going and it gets them working. So you just want to stay away from, as you're healing, or if you're doing healing work within, you want to stay away from any judgments about what the fire is. So if it's anger, then you want to delve into it. You want to say, okay, well, why is it anger? Why am I angry about it? And where does the anger come from? Is it anger that fuels a cause, or is it anger that's just going to eat me up inside? And then you can tell the difference there, and then you can start to see where that lives. So going to this card on judgment. Judgment is a few things for me. Judgment usually talks about timing, but in this case, I'm using judgment to talk about judgment in general. And that means that you are not, just like we talked about the beaver spirit, and we talked about the work and where that applies. We talked about whether it's like an actual house, or whether it's you're building on a foundation to create an entity or business or something like that. You just want to stay away from how you're judging the manifestation of these things. because that can get a little tricky. Sometimes, and it gets tricky because you're not paying attention to all the forms. Spirit speaks to us through different forms. If spirit needs to speak to fire, if it needs to ignite fire, it uses whatever means necessary to do so within you. So you just got to be paying attention to the fire. If we're talking about foundations, then you need to pay attention to where foundations need your work or where foundations need to be laid down. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what I mean about that. But we'll get to this, the other brand of judgment, in a minute. All right, so the other thing is we have the crow here. The crow is a very special animal spiritually because they say that the crow looks, the crow is cross-eyed. I don't know if the crow's cross-eyed, but that's what they used to say. The crow is cross-eyed because it looks in one realm and it looks into the other realm. It can see in the spirit realm and it can also see on the earthly realm. And so the crow holds a special position in the pantheon of spiritual animals because it is the animal that knows both sides. That's why it is considered to be the law keeper, because it understands the laws of the universe, and then it understands how the laws are replicated on planet Earth and how the two and how the twain meet. It also is said to know how to fly between the worlds, which means that if you know what all the rules are, then you also know where the loopholes are. And so this spirit animal comes to you during the month of July to remind you of that. Know your rules, know your laws, know your order, get your foundation built. Okay? Know what's motivating you. And then from there, you can see what the policies and procedures are. What is it that runs that? What is it that is the order for those things? Okay. For example, if you are building a house, your house has to be built to code. So you're building a house, you're getting ready to have a new house built for you and your family. You want to make sure that everything is in code, that it meets code, because you don't want to then get in the house and some stuff fall apart and then you be mad because you didn't pay attention to that part. Okay? So wherever that applies, that's just an example, but wherever that applies, whatever foundation you're building, let's say you're starting a new business, and your business is in the, I don't know, you're starting a new record label or something, or you're starting a home improvement company, then you'll want to know what the rules and regulations are for your industry. You want to know your tax information. You're going to want to know details about the foundation of the business that you're starting. Okay? And then once you get that, then you'll know how to find the loopholes as well. So crow's a special animal. The crow also has implications for spiritual business as well, of course, because they see both sides. They can see into the spiritual realm and also into the physical realm. So they are associated with magic, or they are associated with any kind of spiritual work or the work of a spiritual teacher, because they have to be able to navigate both worlds. So if you're navigating both worlds, you're going to need one of these. You're going to need a rattle or a drum or some kind of instrument. You can also use your voice, but the main thing is that when you are working in spirit or doing spirit work, you'll want to take some noisemakers with you. That's just some old school stuff. Maybe you don't want to do that, but that's fine. I'm just making a suggestion. Because the rattle is a very powerful spiritual instrument. It's a way of communicating in the spirit realm. It's the way that you communicate with the spirit realm. It's also used for healing. So if you are a healing worker or if you're involved in the healing arts, it would be good to have that. The other thing about the rattle is it's how do I want to put this? It lets people know you're coming. It's a fearless thing. It's about, overcoming fears and, letting people know you're coming. I'm coming. When you rattle, then you're not afraid. You're not afraid to let people know, yeah, I'm on my way. And when I get here, you better be prepared because I'm boss. I know what I'm doing, you know. And again, for your spiritual work, it's a very good tool to have. So, just a recommendation, just a suggestion, just a recommendation. So let's talk about all of these, the plethora of major arcana cards that came out in your reading for July. When you get a lot of major arcanas in a reading, it really indicates that there are some major life transforming things happening around you in the area of love and connection and intimacy, in the area of just, overcoming some personal challenges so that you can be renewed, so that you can start fresh, so that you can start over again. Some things that have caused you to gain some inner strength, but I feel like the strength has been garnered at this point in July, meaning you've done the work. And I think that you had, if I'm not mistaken, you've been having hermit experiences in the past, and so to me, hermit experiences always lead to inner strength. Um, and because it really causes you to go in and deal with problems or glitches or issues or hang ups, all of that kind of stuff. So strength is there. Of course, the sun is going to be here. This one was not in there. Sorry, that was a mistake. And then, of course, we have the sun here. So for me, I feel like this is overcoming, to him that overcometh, God giveth a crown. And so this is your crown. Your crown is your happiness. Your crown is your joy. Um, excuse me. I feel like there's going to be a return of joy. Your imagination is going to be sparked. You're going to feel inspired. Nobody's going to be able to tell you what you can't do. Whatever it is that comes to mind for you is possible. And that was, one of the things that came out in your reading is that the things that you didn't even think were possible were possible. And I also wanted to clarify when I was saying that even when you were doubting, faith was carrying you, because it's like you've garnered faith. You've been garnering faith the whole time. So at the moment when you feel some modicum of doubt, the faith that you've been bridging and the faith that you have been accumulating from the work that you've put in is actually carrying you even through your times of momentary doubt or when you are questioning. So that to me was a really powerful statement. So this judgment in this case for me as an overall reading is about a renewal. It is about you overcoming some things. It is about the strength that you've gained. And I feel like these two things are the outcome of this work. So making connections with other people, you can anticipate that. I feel that that's going to happen for you, Virgo. And I also feel that the place of your imagination is going to be re-inspired. It's almost like you lost some of that in growing up and in childhood maybe, and you're going to be getting that back. You're going to feel like a kid again. And that's what you want. You know what I'm saying? That's what you need. That's what you need. Because you're a hard worker, Virgo. I mean, you guys are, you keep things moving, and you keep your mind moving, and you're always trying to improve. You're always trying to improve. That's the perfectionism in you. But when you apply that to your personal development, if you're just being picky about shit, that's when perfectionism goes awry. But when you turn that in and you make an effort toward your own self development, for some of you, that's where the beaver work is. that you're building a foundation for your next phase, or you're building a foundation that you can actually live with, a foundation for life, a foundation for living. You know, you're creating an order or a set of rules for your own life. Now that you have overcome these strength making episodes. So this is really positive, and I'm feeling very happy for you, Virgo. I hope that this July is exactly what you've been waiting for all this time. I think that it is. I think that the bulk of the hard work for you is probably finishing up. You may have some residuals because nothing in the universe is that abrupt. You know, there is a building. When a seed is planted, it takes time to grow before it crests the ground, before it turns into a tree. It's a gradual process. It may seem like sometimes things happen all of a sudden, but you've been building toward it the whole time. And I feel very positive about what happens with you moving forward. So I think the hard part is over. You can kind of take a little sigh of relief when you have your residuals or you have your little questioning. Just remember that the faith that you've been gaining is carrying you at that very moment, and you can continue to press on. All right, this has been your Afterthoughts. I hope you have a great day. If you need to take a deeper dive, or if you want to get deeper into your astrology, or you want to get your own personal medicine wheel reading so you can see how this all hones into your personal specifics, then you can reach out to me. I'm at Kerri, Kerri, at wooingnature.life. And as always, I hope you have a great day, and I hope you have a fabulous life.